It's 6:42 a.m. A speedboat races across the Caribbean at 55 knots. No lights, no radio, just the roar of engines. It's a blur on the water. This smuggler is about to make a grave mistake heading for a carrier. This isn't a lost fishing boat. It's overloaded, riding low in the water. Bundles are hidden under a tarp. Speed is all that matters to this crew. But to the warship, security is paramount. Rules of engagement apply. 2 miles away, the USS George Washington leads a strike group. Her deck is lined with FA-18 Super Hornets ready for action. Destroyers and a cruiser sweep the seas, tracking every contact. Even the smallest contact is raising alarms. Carriers are floating cities. Over 5,000 sailors live and work on board. Security is critical. Unidentified vessels can't approach unchecked. Escalation is necessary. The rules warn: deter, intercept. The smugglers are about to learn. A cartel crew is getting too close to the most powerful warship. This is why getting too close is a very bad idea. High risk. The USS George Washington never sails alone. She's always protected. Arleigh Burke destroyers and a Ticonderoga cruiser form a hard shell. They create a layered defense network from seafloor to space. Each escort has a specific job in the defense network. Destroyers handle anti-submarine patrols and missile defense, sweeping with sonar arrays to detect underwater threats. The destroyers are crucial for anti-submarine warfare. Missile defense is another critical role of the destroyer escorts. The cruiser provides additional firepower and air defense. Together they form an impenetrable shield around the carrier. The USS George Washington is a force to be reckoned with. This is the moment a cartel crew gets too close. They are about to learn why that's a very bad idea. The USS George Washington isn't sailing alone. 2 Arleigh Burke destroyers and a Ticonderoga cruiser are present. Together they form a layered defense network. This network stretches from the seafloor to the edge of space. Every escort has its job in this defensive formation. They sweep with sonar arrays and the Spy-6 radar. The cruiser commands air defense with interceptor missiles. Interceptors can knock down threats hundreds of miles away. The carrier is a floating airport, launching fighters and helicopters. They extend the group's reach far beyond the horizon. It's called a carrier strike group for a reason. It's not just ships, it's a single organism. Thousands of sailors, aircraft, and weapons under one command. Getting close without clearance is reckless and suicidal. Yet here comes that cartel boat charging straight into the most heavily defended patch of water in the Caribbean. International law allows the US Navy to be here. These waters are international, 180 miles off Venezuela's coast. But when it comes to protection, the Navy doesn't take chances. The Coast Guard is another piece of this puzzle. A law enforcement detachment rides on one of the destroyers. They're trained to handle smuggling, piracy, and interdiction. The Navy provides the muscle, the Coast Guard provides the badge. The combined forces empower Washington to defend and enforce maritime law. That authority faces a test as a vessel approaches restricted waters. With each passing minute, the risk of escalation intensifies. At 6:50 p.m., the USS George Washington issues the first warning. Unidentified vessel, this is Warship 273. Alter course immediately. Static. No reply. The vessel continues its course. A second call is made with a sharper tone, but still no response. Rules require verbal warnings first. The cartel crew ignores them. The escorts escalate. A 5-in gun tracks the approaching vessel. The go-fast boat maintains its speed, risking capture. Hesitation means capture. Every knot increases their chance to escape. But they've misjudged their opponent. This is a carrier strike group. The legal context is reviewed. International waters complicate action. International law allows self-defense against imminent danger. The closer the skiff, the thinner the line between legal and illegal. The Coast Guard commander authorizes escalation of presence. Launch intercept aircraft, the crisp order is given. The message is simple: this vessel is too close for comfort. Less than 10 miles separate the boat and the strike group. At 55 knots, that distance disappears in under 12 minutes. 2 MH-60R Seahawks are cleared for immediate launch, Lancer 71 and 72. The rotors thump to life, rising into the Caribbean dusk. The game has just changed as the helicopters take to the air. At 6:55 p.m., the USS George Washington roars as the Seahawks lift off. Designed for anti-submarine warfare, they're Swiss Army knives. Fast, heavily sensor-equipped, perfect for intercepting fast contacts. The rotors thump to life as they rise into the Caribbean dusk. Two MH-60R Seahawks lift into the air ready for action. Designed for anti-submarine warfare, these are naval Swiss Army knives. Within minutes, they're on the boats bearing 500 feet above. Lancer 71 crew peers through night vision goggles. The boat is unmistakable, narrow hull, triple engines. Men hunched low on deck and a blue tarp covering cargo. Not fishermen, not tourists. This is a cartel runner. The sensor operator slews the FLIR turret onto the target. On the screens, the engines burn white, hot and infrared. Every movement of the crew is visible in infrared. Pilot unidentified vessel, this is Lancer 71. You are closing on a U.S. warship. Stop your engines immediately. No answer. The boat surges on ignoring the warning. The Seahawks escalate. A loud hailer booms across the water. Repeating the order in English and Spanish. Still nothing. The cartel crew pretends the warning doesn't exist. Then comes the visual signal, a green laser designator. It's impossible to ignore the maritime equivalent of a police siren. Aboard the USS Mason, the Coast Guard preps for boarding. They're the ones who will step onto the skiff if it stops. The Navy surrounds the target, but only the Coast Guard can seize it. The go-fast boat doesn't yield, engines screaming, throwing up spray. Helicopters don't tire, pacing above, watching every move. The smugglers' options are gone, every radar locked on them. The message is clear, there is no escape. How will this end? Two RHIBs cut loose and slam toward the wake at 7:03 p.m. The Coast Guard moves in like clockwork, helmets down, weapons ready. They ride the chop like a single disciplined animal. The go-fast has no friends in the sky. Lancer 71 holds steady. Lancer 72 circles for overwatch as the RHIBs close in fast. The boarding team shouts commands in Spanish. Surrender or be forced. Hands come up, men scramble from behind the tarp and surrender. The leader leaps aboard, securing the crew and cargo. Every movement is filmed, becoming evidence before a word is said. Below decks, the cargo is inventoried, sealed bales of narcotics. Field narcotics tests register positive. Hundreds of kilograms seized. Estimated street value several $1 million. Chain of custody protocols kick in. Each bale is photographed and bagged. Evidence seals are fixed and logged. Witness statements recorded. The Coast Guard takes legal custody. The Navy provides security. Documentation floats up the command ladder to federal prosecutors. Medical checks are run on the detainees. No serious injuries. They read their rights in both English and Spanish. Forensic sailors sweep the hull for hidden compartments and GPS units. The helicopter's video feed is burned to preserve evidence. The evidence is secured, ensuring a successful prosecution. With the vessel secured, custody protocols are initiated. Each bale is photographed, numbered, and carefully double-bagged. Evidence seals are fixed, logged, ensuring chain of custody. Witness statements are recorded, documenting the events. The Coast Guard assumes legal custody of the seized vessel. The Navy provides security and transport for the detainees. Documentation is sent up the chain of command for review. Federal prosecutors await the evidence at the nearest port. Medical checks are performed on all detainees for injuries. Fortunately, no serious injuries were found, just cuts. Detainees are informed of their rights in English and Spanish. Helicopter video feed is secured for court evidence. By 8:10 p.m., the tactical phase is officially concluded. Now begins the legal, political, and strategic complexities. Seizing a skiff is a small part of a much larger fight. U.S. Southern Command confirms strikes against cartel boats. Cartels are willing to risk escalating confrontations. The Caribbean has become a busy maritime chessboard. Venezuela's collapsing economy fuels the illicit trade. Traffickers use go-fasts, cheap, fast fiberglass boats. These boats are hard to detect on radar. Triple or quad outboards push them past 60 knots. But technology is catching up to their speed advantage. AN divided by SPY, 6 radar tracks small contacts against sea clutter. Electro-optical sensors and FLIR make hiding impossible. Radio calls and infrared signatures become evidence. The Navy can't make arrests in international waters alone. Coast Guard detachments turn military power into law enforcement. Without them, the Navy could only escort or shadow. With the Coast Guard, they can seize, search, and prosecute. Positioning a carrier group sends a strategic message. It's about deterrence, not just drug seizures. Reminding traffickers and governments of U.S. capabilities. The U.S. can project power in the Caribbean. Once a helicopter is overhead, hiding becomes nearly impossible. Every radio call, every infrared signature becomes evidence. It's about deterrence, reminding traffickers of U.S. capabilities. The U.S. can project overwhelming force anywhere in the hemisphere. A single skiff may not threaten a carrier, but the principle is the same. Nothing gets close without scrutiny. Every vessel is monitored. The Caribbean in 2025 is a battlefield of sensors and law enforcement. One wrong course and a lesson every smuggler will remember. The Caribbean is a contested space where a skiff triggers response. Sensors, helicopters, and the Coast Guard turn chase into arrest. The U.S. Navy and Coast Guard bring reach and discipline together. Will cartels risk getting close to a U.S. carrier again? Or was this their final warning shot?